Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hey. The meetings for August 30th, 2022 will be tabled till next meeting. Board signed payroll manifest. We received the MS 535 yearly financial audit. We reviewed that. We got a letter of hire for Kevin O'Toole for the police department. Want to swear him in now? Amber. Okay. All right. Kevin Anetta, Vincent O'Toole of Manchester, New Hampshire, and Hillsborough County. As this is a vacancy for police in said town, and whereas we, the subscribers, have confidence in your ability and integrity to perform the office. We do hereby of said town, and upon you taking the oath have the powers, perform the duties, and be subject to the liabilities of such office until another person shall be chosen and qualified in your stead. Please raise your right hand. Do solemnly swear that I will bear faith and true allegiance to the United States of America and the state of New Hampshire, and will support the Constitution thereof. So help me God. I state your name. Do solemnly and sincerely swear and affirm that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties incumbent on me as a police officer for the town of Barnstead, according to the best of my abilities, agreeable to the rules and regulations of the constitutions of the laws in the state of New Hampshire. So help me God. Welcome aboard. Get Kevin's son. That doesn't look right. Um, We also have review letter for what he's Officer Letourneau. So we lost one. Thank you. Just a notice that we do have a budget committee meeting scheduled for Wednesday, September 1st at 6 PM, Town Hall.
I hope not. September 1st already passed.
September 21st, I said.
You said first.
I wrote down 20. To talk about? Anyone? No?
Yes. Milfoil Committee will be meeting at the Oscar Forth Watts Memorial Library Saturday at 9 AM. They'll start their regular meetings. And it's open to the public. Anybody wishes to.
Another thing going on Saturday.
Oh, well, we're talking about meetings also. Should we start thinking about meetings for the noise committee? We're getting something here for town meeting, so. Probably should think about getting that going.
We have a meeting for school space needs for Thursday night.
This Thursday night?
Yes. Is that school? Leave that. And the American Legion lead, they're working with the police department and the fire department. We have a flag ceremony for the kids at EES Saturday morning, I believe that's at 10. And to teach them all about the flag, holding of the flag, raising of the flag, taking the flag down, and just the Legion working in correspondence with the other departments. Bring the kids along and teach them about the American flag. So that's this Saturday at the school flag area. I believe 10 o'clock. Anybody wants to go to that?
Surprised they're doing that on Saturday. Okay, we have a 5:30 appointment. However, we're running a little early. Yes. Yeah, you have an appointment already. Oh, okay.
I just wanted to remind the select board that this coming Tuesday, September 13th, is the primary election up at the school from 7 AM to 7 PM. And the RSA's require that you're in attendance or you send a proxy. So I would just like to know who your proxies will be if you're not going to be there. And just thought I'd throw that out there. Gary, I have a special job for you.
Bet you do. I'll be there.
I know you will.
I guess while we're on that subject, are we all set as far as how we're gonna get stuff up there and what we're gonna do?
No, I haven't found that 20 mule team yet, but hopefully. Hopefully that if the town has a truck, we could borrow.
I was gonna say, what does the town have? Do they have a trailer at all? They have a flatbed?
I'm assuming if highway department. One of their trucks.
I'm trying to think of what truck they have that, I mean, besides their pickup truck.
What's your truck?
Well, I mean, my truck's available, but I don't think we can fit. We're gonna need either multiple trips or whatever. You got the one time. I don't believe that's enough to haul what we need. And not only that, but cleanup has to be done that night. Because they have school in the morning.
So Monday,
Doing that.
So that stuff will have to be hauled out of there that night.
so Monday night, we can be in the school gym at 6 o'clock to set up. And so hopefully between 4:30 and 5 o'clock, a few people can be here. We can get what we need out of the back room, out of the basement, and have it all loaded and ready to go into that room at 6:01 and get everything set up. Now, the superintendent did say that he would have custodial staff there to help us. And I was going to reach out to Kyle because he knows how to set those booths up and he can do it practically blindfolded. There's a method to it because I've watched him.
Yeah, well,
You start at one corner and go, and when you take them down, you do the reverse. And it's very organized.
Priscilla mentioned last meeting that he was not going to be available.
Right.
Well, that's changed.
I was gonna reach out. And then as soon as voting's over on Tuesday, we need to have all of our items out of there so that they can have school on Wednesday.
I do have a trailer. Probably load up the trailer and cover it for the night. We'll bring it back down here, one or the other.
Mhm.
But I don't think it's enough. It's only a 4x8 trailer up the bed of my truck.
Well, we're not
Bill's
going
a
that,
5x10.
Huh?
Mine's a 5x10.
Yeah, but if it's not closed.
Yeah.
highway doesn't have anything.
That's all they have is pickup truck. I'm
Yeah.
not familiar with any trailers. What we really need is a nice 10, 12-foot closed trailer. No, you just load it up, lock it, and it's gone. We can use my trailer truck. I think it's more than one trip. More than one truck. Take it up. I don't know. You end up clean up that night, probably be all right, you know. Couple trips. Nobody's usually around at closing time.
True.
Okay.
Okay, so
We got a week to get this squared away.
we've been talking about it. It's not anything new. The other thing also is there will be a reminder session for the ballot clerks here on Saturday at 10. Along with everything else that's going on.
Saturday is the busiest day of the year. There's so much going on Saturday.
Oh,
Nancy, were any of them able to take advantage of the training that the Secretary of State's office offered?
I need to email them those links. Because, yes,
Curious.
my spare
Is
time.
that an online thing?
It had, yeah, it was in person and on. They can do it online.
I know I went to an in-person with the supervisors of the checklist. Any other question?
No, are you waiting for others, the planning board?
Yes.
So,
Hold off on public input. Andrew, do we have anybody else on besides Diane? Elaine? Okay, why don't I'm gonna go ahead and, open up public input. 5:20. Then, we'll do it again if we have to before we leave. There was one, good point. We can close public input. Five. I have, yeah. Ready when you are. We still got Diane on?
Yes, you do.
Yeah, you're gonna have to use the microphone, Dave.
So what we're requesting is approval of our request for all right, is this working? Everybody can hear? Okay,
We can hear you fine. It's the people that are listening on the.
Yeah.
Out there in the world.
okay. Well, so we have prepared a draft of a request for proposals. And I know that Karen has made a couple of suggestions about changes to it. We haven't specifically seen them, but I'm assume that they are not changes that would in any way be a problem for us. And we're hoping that you will feel ready to approve this. We estimate that it will cost somewhere between $8 or $9 and $14,000, based on the feedback we've gotten from talking to a few landscape architects. We'll of course know more when we get the bids in. And we have brought with us, and would be happy to share with you. There are 3 sets of plans. One is the survey that Mark Sargent did. A second is the stormwater management plan that Barney Engineering in Alton did. And the third is kind of our current thinking about what the park will be. So like, I will pass those around in that order.
Gail McCullough. To add to that, the planning board a couple times, they have requested that we come and give you guys an update of where the park is. Before I was brought on, and showed you guys our conceptual design. So now we're making sure that you
Now, has the planning board seen all of these plans here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, so I can highlight what the engineer had proposed. 3 dry wells. One that's located right exit to the library parking lot. Second one, which is along, you're looking at the design, kind of right side up, the right side of the driveway to the library. And then a third that would be on the side parking area. And again, the lower one. We are planning a shape or that it's well next to that. No major part. That any additional runoff that there might be. I would emphasize that even without those features, the fact that the entire park will be adding 6 inches of loam to plant grass on, that loam will be more absorbent of stormwater than the existing sand and gravel is there. Barney Engineering was very clear in saying that the dry wells along the 2 dry wells at the top and on the side of the driveway up to the parking lot are the most important factors in the stormwater for the entire area, and that in fact they should have been installed at the time that the library addition and the library parking lot were created. Stop there for a moment. Want to add anything, Gail?
Along the driveway. got some, along the parking, we've got some, water control measures there. Also, and then the parking will be gated a little bit according to the drawing. We haven't received the shoreline permit back yet. So we
Shoreline permit rule. Say that they need to process the plan. first day. They need to process the plan and get us a response within 30 days. So their 30 days will be up. So we should be receiving a response shortly.
Is there any questions on the stormwater or with the layout?
Diane, you don't have any questions on that? Mostly the stormwater? Okay,
Not right at this time.
So this is the garage over here that's existing and the ice rink will be over here. So we've got kind of an entrance coming into the park. Off this way, we'll have parking along here. Entrance coming in. So this is a pavilion that's not part of this phase, but we want to mark it out because we want to do it eventually. So right now, that's just a placeholder. The community garden, we've got coming along this area with the labyrinth in the back. This is where the archery was originally going, but we're gonna keep that at TL Store. We talked with 4-H, Dave Sargent, and he's perfectly fine with it staying there. It's going really well. We've had a ton of good feedback. So we're gonna leave that there. As we come around, so this is getting towards the back where the targets are now. And we've got a climbing rock wall. And then we'll come around, we'll have a slide here. The slide, we anticipate having stairs going up and then also boulders going up. There's examples of that in the packet that I gave you. We have a sand box and then also like a dirt box. And then in the middle, we plan on have a hand pump so the kids can add water to the dirt to build things, sandcastles or anything they want. Working our way around, we've got the amphitheater. So this will be a flat surface. The shape of it's to be determined exactly, but it'll be a flat surface and then into the hills where we plan to do the tiered seating. Coming around to the outside part here, this is where we want the free play stuff. So again, in the document that I showed you, there's like wood wedges, Lincoln logs, things like that. So the anticipation is to have that kind of stuff stored over here. This garden, we don't know that will go there. We had split it at one point, but we think we're probably going to be able to keep it all back over here. So this right here will be a hill. It'll be dimensional, 2 hills coming together, and then the splash pad or sprinkle pad is intended to go right there in front of that. And then this is another pavilion, again, just a placeholder. It's not something we're doing at this phase. We got a gazebo here, with the intents that a parent would be able to sit here and watch their kids on the slide, over on the walk wall, and kind of be able to see those features over there. And then we anticipate having benches throughout. So right here, this is showing a handicap access ramp. So in looking into a little bit further, we think it's going to be more efficient to put in a handicap slide next to this one. So we've got it wrote to where we can do one or the other. And we'll just have to weigh the pros and cons for each. The water fountain feature has been taken out. Or the waterfall, sorry. So we're no longer doing that. This slide not being done. And I believe that covers the majority of it. Any questions on the layout?
Well, everything's phase one except the
In the handicaps, access,
and the handicap. Okay.
Yep.
Water, thing in the middle there.
the water feature is part of phase one. Yep. So the RFP that we've given you for the landscape architect, our intent with bringing them on is so that because we're building features into the hill, they'll be able to tell us how to prevent the best erosion controls, what levels everything, elevations things need to be at. So we're hoping to get a lot of feedback from them on building things into the hill. And then along with just your basics for electrical, mechanical, plumbing, to integrate that. We'll get that probably from an electrician company and a plumbing company, but we want it all integrated into the landscape architects design. And I think the RFP explains all of that.
I thought the RFPs mostly for moving the land and digging and doing elevation. Stuff like that.
Yep.
Do you think that can be done by one contractor? Do you think there's multiple? By everything really, because some of it's, I noticed in here, you had some for, building the slide or the elevation for that. Plus you got a little play area in there with separate hillsides. So that's mostly just the guy running a excavator or something like that. And then you're gonna need them for any kind of water control, basically, putting
Dry well.
the dry wells in.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they can do the water and the electrical or.
We did one contractor, we would have to have subcontractors, and then you're getting into something really big.
Are you really looking for an engineer to contract it?
No, our hopes are with the landscape architect, that will give us the information that we need.
Yeah.
And then we'll work with the different companies that specialize in the different areas to get the work.
And
I'm
we
just
also,
wondering if you need more than one of these, I guess. is what I'm looking
yes,
at.
we
Okay,
will.
because there's different areas, it looks like that.
But this is the next step for us. And then that was reviewed by a certified playground safety inspector.
Okay, so you knew this already.
Right. And the other piece that you'll get from the landscape architect, I expect, is the information that we will need for FAB to be able to. Electrician will provide the information for an electrical permit, plumber for a plumbing permit, and then the rest of the permitting that will come out of the work of the landscape architect.
So I had a quick question, looking back at your 2020 budget, the Big River budget for architectural and engineering fees was 17,500 approximately. Are you going to be taking, because it sounds like the landscaping architect is going to be doing a lot more than I think what was originally intended? And you can correct me if I'm wrong. So the monies that would be saved by not doing the waterfall features, which I think is probably in about 3 or 4 different categories under site work, is that going to be used towards the landscaping fees, architecture, I mean?
But yes, the budget that we end up with is going to have a number of differences from the original. And that's something that we will be hopefully preparing in the next 3 or 4 weeks. And we will need to submit a revised budget and a revised plan to the state park system for their approval. They have indicated that as that the only time that they would not approve changes is if it's somehow really changed the nature of the whole project. And so we'll be well within the nature of the original project.
Thank you.
Okay, so do you need to get this RFP needs to go out first before you can update this budget that you submitted to us already? Is that what you're saying? So that you'll know where you stand
Yeah, and
in those different areas?
we'll start working on, so we want the RFP to go out as soon as possible. And then obviously we're gonna start working on the budget with estimates of what we think we might be looking at and where we can move money to and from. Then once those bids start coming in, we'll be able to nail it down a little bit closer and then get that to the grant officer.
Has the RFP been reviewed by anyone, our attorney or you, Karen, or?
No, it was just sent Friday. I was out Friday, but I believe Gary forwarded it. I also forwarded it, I believe, on Saturday. So, no, I've made a few comments, but the board haven't even had a discussion.
Okay. How are you guys with us running this by the attorney, having a review? You guys all right with that?
Yep.
I think we can do that.
Yep.
And also, I know you talked to Fab wrote us an email indicating that that the proposal should clearly specify that a complete and thorough code review needs to be done by ADA, NPPS, ASTM. Are you familiar with any of those? Have you touched base with any of those? No?
HIPAA code reviews,
Right.
basically.
I think that that will be covered by the landscape architect. But it's perhaps something that we should add to the RFP. But,
I have a feeling this RFP is gonna get. You may get a lot of proposals on it. I'm not sure they're gonna be qualified to.
Right.
For a playground. So
Right.
to speak. I can see you getting a lot of landscapers, stuff like that that are interested in doing. Not sure that fits the qualification.
Um, we will figure out in the next week or 10 days exactly how we're gonna address that concern with fabs.
And we've already met with one landscape architect on site, just to get the balls rolling.
Yeah.
Find out what kind of questions,
Yeah.
and she specializes in playgrounds. That's what she does. She's phenomenal at it.
Oh,
And then we talked with another one, who also works his experience with playgrounds. And then if you've seen an RFP, we asked for them specifically to list their playground experience, so we can see that, and it is said that that would be taken into consideration along with pricing.
okay, that's good. Right. Yeah, it's more flexible.
Karen or Gary, did you send out the part of the letter that had other requests in it?
We can print that out to us.
So, well, the issue that's most relevant for tonight is that because the dry wells, according to the engineer, and we can get this in writing if you'd like it, should have been done at the time that the library was installed. We'd like you to consider paying the 50% match to that out of other town funds, if there's a feasible way to do it. It does appear that although it's incredibly necessary for the park, it's not because we're doing the park. It's needed because the library parking lot is up there, and there's, I don't know how many of you might have noticed, but over the last 2 years, we've been able to see the erosion coming from that spot. We covered the lower part of that up with the garden that's being built out there. Put a stone drainage way in there. But that won't stop the major amount of water that does run off of there and the erosion that's caused from it.
You want us to pay, or you want us to find 50% of that cost?
Yeah.
And what is the cost? Talking 3 of them,
2.
2 of them.
Definitely within, third one is definitely related to the parking area and the driveway. And that's so that's definitely because of the fact that we're doing the park. So if they're $4,000 each, and there's some gravel that goes with them, and then the digging work, I'm not sure, probably maybe $6,000.
So $12,000, right?
12,000 total. Half of that will come from the federal grant.
Okay, so you're gonna utilize the grant money, to cover the other half of that? That's your plan?
Yes.
If I could ask, don't we have to pay for a portion up front before we get reimbursed? I think there was a dollar amount for a certain level that we had to complete before we could even request reimbursement. So just to make the board aware, we'd have to pay everything up front. We got
Yes, the guidelines are, and these are spelled out in the contract, that the town pays 100% as it's being built. When we get to a quarter of the grant, which is $38,000, then we can submit a bill. And then we'll get half of that back. And then the town pays using that money and other private money that we hope to raise over the next few months. And if needed, other town cash for the cash flow. I think that's similar to what happens with emergency repairs or something like that from a tornado, that FEMA money you get paid. Not before you build it, but after you build it.
If I can just add, they also requested for the library, the construction of a swale, 3 feet wide, the existing recess one. So it's a little bit more than just the 2 dry walls.
Anybody else have a question?
Yeah, I guess you can. Well, I didn't, well, it's hard to say. This isn't really public input.
Well, the meeting was posted as a joint meeting between the
Okay.
select board.
All right.
So, for the people that are out in Zoom land and for the select board members that don't know, planning board has met with Parks and Rec several occasions to go over this plan. We also did a site walk down behind the ice hockey rink. And, we gave Gail a list of questions a mile long. Some of them have been answered. But the concerns that have come out of the planning board have been the maintenance of this park. This is a fairly large investment for the town of Barnstead for a park when there's been no pre-planning for such a facility. So all of a sudden, we received the proposal for this plan, which it's a very, there's been a lot of thought and a lot of work put into it. But we feel that there's been no planning with the town. Then we look at the long range as far as who's going to maintain this park in 5 years. Now, we were told that volunteers would be working on the park. Well, volunteers lose interest after a few years. And then the town's going to be holding this maintenance bill, this maintenance problem. I mean, there's electrical, there's water. Water freezes this up in this part of the country in the winter. We had concerns of vandalism. We had concerns of trash. Well, who's going to be there on a daily basis to make sure that this park is being appropriately used? And so those were just some of the concerns. Plus, we did not see a well-prepared, thought-out plan of how this was going to be executed. And so those are the concerns that came up in the planning board meeting. I'm going to pass it on.
Thank you, Rick Dwayne. I just want to reiterate some of the things that Nancy has said, but this is a really unusual application. Typical ones we would get would be a private person coming in, looking to do something, site plan on private property. Because this is feedback from you folks as to what you want to do. We can certainly put anything we want into a
How do we hit you?
So with this is the town property, it's a town organization doing it. Everybody gets excited about blueprints and new projects. And after, like Nancy said, after a couple of years, volunteers sort of get tired and move on. And I'll give you an example. The skating rink down there is in top shape. And if they have a lot of volunteers, I think I'd want to see the skating rink taken care of and the basketball court taken care of. I mean, there's weeds in the basketball court that are a foot tall. I don't think the place has been mowed around the skating rink all season. A lot of the board should be replaced. I just see that happening to this proposal down the road. But this is a very difficult thing because the planning board just should look at the project and but because it's a town, the next board's got to be. So we really came here looking for some feedback from you guys, and I hope we get it. As far as those catch basins, that library has been there 25 years and hasn't been much of a water issue. And because they put all of the bill, I don't think the town should have to put it. I think there's all thought out plan. It is in a sense, but they constantly change it. They get feedback from different people and they make some changes, and some I heard tonight new, I believe, from the last time they've been to the planning board meeting. So it's an ever-changing thing. So it's difficult to pin it down and make it a final approval. But I really would like to hear some feedback from you guys.
Well, I do agree that Parks and Rec is looking for a lot of help on this one. Either volunteer help or engineering type help. This RFP that they're looking for, I think we need to have this reviewed. To be sure that it's okay to send out. So we'd like to see that first. I think we need talk about the $12,000 that they're looking for on her behalf. And, I mean, I don't think we're ready to start this project anyways. I mean, it's what, September now? How much do we really think we're gonna get done this year on this? Are we planning on doing something this year on this? And if so, do we have any idea what?
We don't know the answer to that because we don't know how long the rest of the steps are gonna take.
Right.
The maximum that we could do at this point would be to do the dry wells and maybe the electrical or the plumbing.
Well, and
And-
I would like to get these out as quick as possible, because I think this will give you a better idea of where your budget is, and give you the ability to update the last one. So it's more accurate. You agree? Then I would also like to see some of Fab's concerns addressed as well. Before you get too far into it, we have to make sure that we have the right people in place so that we don't do a lot of work and find out we got to rip it up and do it again, or, you know, it's not done right, or something, you know, because that just wastes money and time. You agree? I mean, those three things right there are concerns for not really helping you out tonight.
Also, as Rick mentioned, this is a town property and it's going to be a town facility for a long time. It might do us well as you said, Rick, it's probably not gonna go too far forward or winter gets here. At the next town meeting to find out what the townspeople want. Do they want to invest in this going forward? Town money, taxpayer money? How do they feel about that long range, which can change every year depending on who shows up at a meeting or whatever, but it is going to be a town facility that's going to have to be maintained going forward. So it's really up to the town if they want to invest in it.
Also, I mean, just to throw it out there, but do you have any intentions of putting funds into next year's budget to help with this project, or to use the later date for this project?
We have not made a decision on that. I think it's that we probably will, because of the fact that we have a 3-year timeline in the federal union.
Okay,
We're now at the end of year 1. So we need to get a lot done.
well, you just applied for it this year.
Sorry?
Didn't you just apply for that this year?
Oh,
No,
we applied for it 2.5 years ago.
2.5 years ago? It's only,
October of 2020.
so you only have another 3 years to use this? Oh, when was it granted?
September or October of 2021.
Okay, so you are a year.
Right.
Okay.
If I can just speak briefly to a couple of the issues that Rick mentioned, which are obviously appropriate issues that we have thought about. We will be putting together a maintenance plan. I expect that some of that maintenance, a significant part of that maintenance can be done by volunteers, but not all. So as we put that together, we will begin with that. uh, Rick White, others are right, that volunteers will work hard on something for a couple of years. And then they want to move on, uh, something else. One of the reasons that we asked town at the beginning to fund coordinator is to help us get more accountability with volunteers, so that we can be trying to have volunteers in the pipeline for the future. And the people who worked on the ice rink in class, there was some continuation for the treatment. Most of them were able to do that. With that. I expect that this will be an attractive enough feature for the town that there will continue to be good people who will step forward, volunteer. When their kids get to be for May. And for some of them, it's maybe when the kids get to 5 and they're using it a lot. For some others, it may be when their kids graduate from college and go off. They have a little bit of time.
That is a good statement.
I think a big concern, legitimate concern is down the road. You guys do a lot by your volunteers. You've got some fabulous volunteers, thank God. And people like yourselves put a lot of time and effort into all of this. That doesn't mean these same volunteers, and you've got some really good ones, that you're going to have the same volunteers, or they're going to be willing to put in the same amount of time and effort 2 years down the road or 3 years down the road. And there's no guarantee that there are going to be volunteers. There probably will be, but there's no guarantee to it. So if this park goes in and a lot of money is put into this and it looks wonderful and everybody's praising it and oh, look at this. But then 2 years down the road or 3 years down the road, the volunteers have dried up and it's getting overgrown and it's going to start costing the town an excessive amount of money. It's not going to look so good. So I think there's I think it's important that the town is involved in it, the people in the community, because it's their money. And if it does fall prey a couple of years down the road, we or you didn't make this decision, basically. The town was involved in it because you're fortunate with what you have now, but you're still looking for volunteers all the time. And this is a big, taking what you're taking on. It's very big. And I think there's a lot more responsibility to look down the road. I'm all for the park. I think it'd be great. We all want the kids and families to have a great place to go, but there's a responsibility down the road too, which none of us really know. We don't know if your volunteers dry up, or I think there'd be some volunteers, but are they willing to work as hard as some of the ones you have right now? So you got to take that, I think, a little bit into consideration.
We absolutely agree with that. That is why we're gonna do a movement plan and it'll indicate what we think it will, how much we think we can get volunteers to do. But if it's something that we think we can get a volunteer to, we'll also put a number on it of what the estimate is of what it would cost if we didn't have the volunteers. Have that. Clear.
Comments, Ed?
Can I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead.
Just on phase 1, drinking fountain. Is there water there now that you're able to drink from? I know there was an issue before when the police station was over there. Just wondering, are you proposing an artesian well or?
The water in the well that we use flooding the ice rink will be our source of water. It's been tested and it has no bacteria. And the water well engineer who did the testing recommended that we install UV filter that would, if any bacteria were to come into it, would be terrible.
Yes. Sure, what's your name?
I'd like to ask. When we're relying on just volunteers, if maybe it would be possible to set something up so that you could set up fundraising events. So that you would have something on a consistent basis where you could be bringing in money year by year. So we can come up with a plan that would show certain fundraising events. I remind. Want to hold it? Can you hold it? I need one of these all
If
the
you
time.
can't hear it out of there, it's not working.
Okay, very good. Fair enough. How's that? Thank you. Thank you very much. So if we could have some kind of a plan on a fundraising events that you could come up with, so that it would help show the town where you could bring in money to help support what you have in your volunteer system when it would work. I think would be beneficial to us. The other question I had is kind of like a double part question. And that is, getting back to your stormwater drainage. Did your engineer company give us an amount of water runout or volume amount that it would be being said? Because of, I'd like to know the size of the dry wells that he had set up that have to go in there, and the reasoning why for the amount of water that would be going in, and how would they be dispersed after if there was an overabundance of water, so that they would be able to disperse those. Thank you.
Oh,
So the dry wells will be, the engineers recommended 6 feet deep and 6.5 feet in diameter. We did not get a number as to the total runoff. And that's because the runoff after completion will be less than the existing runoff because of the fact that the loam that we're putting in will absorb some part of what runs off currently. You raised the question of fundraising. That's something that we are working on. We've organized the Friends of Barnstead Parks and Recreation as a nonprofit organization for the purpose of raising money and recruiting volunteers for the park. So there are a million things that we want to do with that money, but certainly maintenance of existing infrastructure and equipment, it goes at the top of the list.
You provided for us at one point a list of activities and events and other things that Parks and Rec wanted to do. I don't know when you're starting any of those, but the list was quite extensive. So, I mean, are we looking at revising that list? Because I can see that with a project of this magnitude, you may not hit them all.
Yeah, so the list, actually I've added to it.
Oh, good.
Sorry. And that's not saying that we want to do every one of those things, but we want to know what we can do, what guidelines we have to do things. Some of that depends on if we can find instructors. So, dancing lessons. Can we find somebody to teach line dancing? Will they do it for free or are they going to charge us? But I don't want to take all of my time going out and finding instructors and getting all the details worked out
Mhm.
if for some reason I can't do it. So, I'm revising the list and just making it a different format so that it's showing the event, that we want to do, the location, who would be there. And then if there's a cost associated, and a lot of that's just gonna be to be determined, and then the description of it, and then a comment, because we're gonna be talking with the insurance company. So then they can add comments, we can add comments while we're speaking with them in notes area. So that there is a lot on there. Some of it, though, like the play down at the park, is just a matter of maybe one Wednesday a month and one
Mhm.
Saturday a month. We open up the garage and pull out the basketballs, the hula hoops, the jump ropes, sidewalk chalk, and we let everybody know from 5 to 7, we're gonna have somebody down there with all of these toys available to bring their kids down and enjoy them now. So while it takes up a spot on that list, it's very minor. Kayaking and hiking, that would be something that would just be kind of a spur of the moment, maybe a week in advance. Oh, it's gonna be nice this Saturday. Let's put a post out and say, does anybody want to go kayaking? We're gonna be meeting at the ramp from 12. We'll be back by 2. If you want to come, show up, bring your own kayak. So a lot of the stuff isn't super time consuming. A lot of it is free. That was one of the things that we were kind of trying to reach
Right.
for, is stuff that isn't going to cost the town money, it's not going to cost Parks and Rec money, and it's not going to cost our residents money.
Does anybody else have any questions?
Just to touch on Gary's point a few minutes ago, when he talked about losing volunteers in the future, it has happened. The Parks and Rec department used to run Parks and Rec basketball, Parks and Rec soccer, very well attended programs through the years. And then as volunteers dwindled away, those events, those teams were left and to fend for themselves for a year. They floundered for a bit, and I believe they were picked up by a couple of outside organizations that took that over. The Parks and Rec's got a lot on their plate. They do the town beach. They do the fishing derby in conjunction with some other folks, the trunk or treat that gets back going again. They got the rink, the basketball court. They used to do the summer concerts, then that kind of went by this wayside, and then they picked it back up again within the last year or two. The town took it over for a couple of years. It does happen. It's going to happen. So you really got to plan for this. And this is a big nut for them to take off, this project. I wish them all the luck in the world, but it's you guys that are going to have to make the decisions as to how much you want to fund this. Thank you.
I think that that's the key part of that, is the fact that you do depend on volunteers so much. It's not like you have a department of all kinds of help. It's the volunteers that are so crucial to this, and there's no guarantee with it. So,
And there never will be.
pardon me?
And there never will be. I'm going to say that right now.
Yeah,
We're not going to be able to say, yes, we're constantly
right.
going to have volunteers here. We can't say that. we can say that we will do the best that we can. We've had a meeting with, let's say up at Prospect Mountain, to talk with them about their volunteer hours that the high school kids require. So we've already met with them and talked with them a little bit, not just about the park, but other things with Parks and Rec. We've had a lot of people step up since I've been here anyways, to be volunteers. So it may just be a matter of making sure that we keep reaching out and adding to our list. Even with the conservation, when we cleaned up the beach, we had a great turnout. We had people that came and helped us with that. And I've had several more come up to me and say, hey, when you do that next year, let us know and we'll come and help too. And then I keep track of that. So we're doing what we can to get volunteers on board. We're also going to be planting things that are at least very low maintenance. So we're working with a landscape specialist. What is she called? I don't remember. Yeah. For picking all of the greens, the bushes, the trees, all that kind of stuff to try to keep it as low maintenance as possible. So it's not something that we've just disregarded, but it's something that is going to be here no matter what. If you have a park, and it's going to be anywhere that has a park, and we'll just do the best that we can. Now, if you guys want to see a list of things that we've talked about for fundraisers with friends, we can get you that. And it's a matter of once that gets up and going, and then that money needs to be put into, it can't be designated, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So if we say we're doing a fundraiser for maintenance, then that money has to sit there forever and it can't go for anything else. So we'll need to come up with some type of an agreement of what you guys are content with for us to do it that way also.
Probably a good idea would be to put into a budget going forward, what it would cost for someone to minimally maintain it going forward if you don't have any volunteers. What would it take? One person, 3 hours a day, how much would that cost? What it would take the town if they had to pay that going forward if it can't be maintained by volunteers? What's that gonna cost? Obviously, you can't tell exactly, but have some kind of idea so that you know exactly what it's gonna cost going forward, should the town have to start maintaining it.
And to add to that, does the grant have any condition that says you must maintain this for X amount of years? Or does it have any provisions about maintaining it? And what would happen if we can't maintain it?
The grant requires that the town keep it accessible for the use that the grant has funded for 25 years.
5 years.
It does not. It doesn't have maintenance requirements. No.
So
So
it's not usable without maintenance.
Right.
yeah,
And it becomes
But
a liability if it's not maintained.
Electrical, water.
That means that area has to stay the way it is.
yeah.
Yes.
Another planning board member had a question about insurance and how much would this increase the cost of the town's insurance?
Yeah, I was kind of wondering the same thing. I know there is liability in many different areas around here, boat ramps, school, whatever. But this seems like we're putting ourselves at high risk as well. And I'd be surprised if we don't have to do something.
And I would not have that answer until we get probably more plans and know exactly what you're proposing, maybe even after an RFP. We can certainly reach out. A lot of things still up in the air. Certainly
Well, I'm
So-
sure that,
So
go ahead. Go ahead, Dave.
when I spoke with the insurance agent before the grant proposal was submitted, he said that the way the insurance company sets the premium is based on experience. So the day that we open this, it will have no effect on the insurance. The town, the cost of the insurance. If somebody breaks a leg, and then there's that cost to the town, at that point, it affects
That doesn't
Oh.
sound right.
insurance rate.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's what they told you? Who told you
Yes.
that? Was it our insurance company or
it was,
Hey,
yeah,
was that Acme Insurance you called?
Acme?
that
I
was
wanted to make a
that
comment
was
too.
Barnstead's agent with, what's the P word, the
Primex,
Primex.
Primex,
Oh,
Right.
Primex?
and the person who works specifically on Barnstead.
and that's typical, workers' comp or any of the other insurance we have. We're typically grouped with other towns, but it's based on experience. And that's how your rates, you'll see increases. Very rarely do we, but that's how they base your rates.
Yeah, but this sounds like
I
it's
did want to make a,
go ahead, Diane.
I wanted to just make a comment, David, for Parks and Rec's purposes. And I think you're hearing the concerns of both the planning board and the select board when it comes to responsibility of the town maintaining, et cetera, et cetera. Does that make you guys consider perhaps going back to the drawing board, removing features such as, and I hate to say it, the water features, because that's going to be a lot of issues. I mean, I'm dead set against the water bubbler. I mean, I grew up with them, but they are just infested with germs unless it's just to fill bottles. You know, we're exposing kids to whatever type of germs that are out there. But the concern is the town is going to be the one that's going to be taking on the burden of the maintenance. We know it. And we were told when this grant came before us 2 years ago that the town's responsibility would be minimal at most. And yet here I am listening to this entire thing, realizing that that's not accurate. So what is it that Parks and Rec can tell us moving forward if we do have concerns with some of the specific features?
If you have a concern with a specific feature, you can tell us not to do it. And then we'd have to go back to the contract agency and negotiate taking that out. As I indicated, I don't think they're going to, it's going to be problematic to negotiate changes. So if there is a piece that you, as a group, you know, I think too risky, and you can tell us not to do it. I mean, the contract is with the town, not with the Parks and Rec.
Is Parks and Rec scheduled with the planning board again on Thursday of this week? When's the next visit? Over? No, I don't need it. All right, Dave, unfortunately, I don't believe that we're in any position to give you any yay or nay at this point. Okay. But I do believe there's a few things that we should be looking into before we're even supposed to. be doing that.
By we, do you mean you guys or us?
I mean, the board. May ask your help.
That's fine. If we needed to do something, I just needed to write it down.
Don't think. be honest.
What can we do that would help?
Tonight?
But over the next month,
Can we get back to you on that?
definitely.
I think maybe if we get a chance to discuss this as a group, we can probably come up with a list. That sound fair?
Yes.
Diane, you all set?
Yes, I am.
All right. Go ahead, Dan.
I think I've said this before, but I do want to repeat it. That this kind of a playscape it creates less hazards and less insurance costs than your typical playground. And to give you an example why, if you have a playground where you have a slide and kids have to climb up a ladder in order to go down the slide, they can fall off the ladder. Our slide is built into the hill, so they can fall down climbing up stairs, but they're falling at the same level. They're not falling down 10 feet from 5 feet.
How high is your rock wall?
Climbing.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. All right. I agree with you. I think it's definitely less risk than a normal one.
Well, thank you very much. And we appreciate the level of interest that your question indicates.
All right. Well, thank you for coming in and updating us. We appreciate it. Is anybody else on? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
A few months ago, we came to you with two issues. I don't remember what the second issue was, but that was the second issue was the one that you spent time on. The one that we would like you to act on at some point is that we provided you with a draft of bylaws from Parks and Recreation. And we'd like to get action on those.
Okay.
Greg?
Yes. There- Well, it looks like there's a lot of work that's been put into it, you know, and
Oh, yeah. I hear me. Do I have to repeat it? All heard me. I have a big mouth.
all right, we still have a non-public.
Thanks.
We
you guys.
can't, I didn't think anybody was on. Is there anybody else on? That's why I was asking. I was gonna open it back. I was gonna open public input.
Yeah. These are out.
Nobody on? Okay, I don't see any need. We have a non-public?
On here.
A? Alright. Sorry? Yeah, this is mine. Keeping this one. Alright, I'll take a motion to go into non-public RSA 91-A:3, Roman numeral number 2, A.
So moved.
Just missed it. We did it twice. We just did it twice. You want more? I'll open it back up for public input at
Sorry, John.
6:40.
Was that the town, the town is on the hook for 25 years. And I would like to know, and I'm sure it's in the grant application somewhere, if it's determined that the park is not usable, do we have to refund the grant money?
I do want to point out that at the time that we asked for permission to submit the grant, we gave you the 25-year number, and it was written in the grant proposal that you read.
So yes, we do have to give back the money. Is that what you're saying? Did I not hear you?
I'm not positive.
Okay,
So I want to be able to check into that and let you know,
okay.
and know that I'm telling you the right thing.
Yeah. For any more public input?
Close it in. Let's,
I'm gonna close public input. Now I'll take a motion.
we had a motion in a second. We just got to.
Oh, yeah, okay. Roll call.
Aye.
All right.
Diane?
Yes. Yep.
Aye.